How can you not tell when he like starts recording?
That's not a curse word.
No, he didn't record that part.
Yeah.
But you didn't hear the click?
Yeah, I heard the click. That's why I said.
That's when that's when he started recording.
Yeah, that's why I said daddy. Why would I not do that?
I was gonna like I started recording after he said that, and I wanted the listeners to be like, "What did he say?"
Lower his mic just a tad.
I mean, we can start over if you want.
No.
If you want to sell that joke, it's fine. I'm in.
No, we can keep it in there.
I'll bleep it.
What do you mean? I'm the one that edits the podcast.
I'll tell you to bleep it.
Why do you do this to me? Rene, you got a story to talk about to start off this podcast with?
So basically, the past few days I've been in an anime kick again. So I've rewatched One Punch Man for season 1, right. And I've started to rewatch Attack on Titan. But the thing is, though, when I watch animes, unfortunately, to the certain anime communities, I watch the dubs.
Okay.
And apparently, that's not liked a lot.
As a member of that community.
Yes.
Why do you say it that way? As a member of that community. What community?
It's a community where we all are very, very nice to each other.
All right, weeb.
I was like, no,
we're not. No, we're not. We're very mean to each other.
So I was playing Attack on Titan here, and then it was funny. I don't know why. Most of my customers today were just, I guess, anime people.
Oh no!
And they come in, and I'm like, so it's always weird. They always come in when there's no dialogue, and or it's the intro or outro. And so then when they're watching it, they're like, oh, he's watching Attack on Titan. And then when like Aaron talks, he's talking in English. They're like, oh, like.
As if like that offended them because
basically it's like their expectations dropped.
You know what? Okay, first off, did you hear a knock?
No, it's just when he said like the expectations dropped.
Yeah, it's like their expectations dropped, and then they're like, oh, it's dubbed.
Okay, I'll admit. Okay, I will admit, I watched Attack on Titan.
Okay,
dubbed. Now the reason I do
dubbed
this,
or subbed?
Dubbed.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I do this is because when I watch anime, I like to do things around the house.
Yes.
You know, do laundry, play Call of Duty.
Yeah.
You know, something.
I like to do some chores, you know, clean the dishes, do the laundry, play Call of Duty mainly, you know.
Yeah. But the thing is that that's when I'll put the dub on.
Yeah.
But I will admit, have you ever listened to the sub?
Yes, I have.
So the sub is mainly different, which I don't know why they changed it. It's really weird.
So
they changed Aaron's scream.
Yeah, when he's a Titan, because in the subbed he's more roaring like a gorilla or a lion.
Yes.
And in the dubbed, I will admit that's the one thing I don't like about the dubbed is that in this one he's kind of screeching.
Yeah, it's more of like a banshee screech.
Yeah.
And I was like, and anybody who's ever like seen the two knows that that's hard. Like that's really weird.
It's a hard transition.
I like watching Attack on Titan dubbed also because there's a lot of dialogue.
Yeah.
There's a lot of dialogue.
It's mostly
and there's
dialogue.
And there's a lot of stuff there's a lot of like concepts that have to get like transcribed. I don't think you've ever seen Attack on Titan, right?
I've seen like 1.5 seasons.
Okay, so you know in Attack on Titan there's like a government there's a government like, hierarchy in like the thing throughout like the scouts and everything like that.
Yeah.
Well, there becomes more like political espionage like later on in the show, and there's also like some like treachery, and there's a lot of other things that happen, and they can get real complicated real quick.
Yeah.
And
the trial of Aaron when they like try to figure out if he is a Titan or not.
Yeah, but the thing is that trust me, it gets way more complicated.
Yeah, I know it is.
But the thing is that if you are an English speaker, it's a lot easier for you to understand dubbed. I mean, I'll let you know it's hard. It's hard. It's the voice acting isn't as great as the sub. I'll give you that. But it's better to understand.
So the way I see it is that like, because I understand.
Yeah.
I've only heard mainly the argument of like dubbed versus subbed being that, oh, if you watch anime dubbed, then you truly don't appreciate the artwork of anime. Shut up.
Yeah, you're a moron
like
if you say
that you're dumb. But if someone were to come up to me and say, watch it subbed And if the translation is good, then yes, it's better, because I understand that aspect of it.
Yes.
Because there's certain words in Japanese that don't translate well. Not even words, like phrases don't translate well. I think My Hero had that because what's his name? Liminier or whatever his
Lemillion?
Yeah, his what's his actual name?
It's
Magato?
Mirio
Togata, right?
Yeah.
There's a joke that he says when All Might calls him into the office where he's like, I gotta go or whatever. He says something like that, like as a reference to his name. I don't think that actually translated well from Japanese to English. I think that was an English, specific joke.
A lot of those jokes don't translate well because in American audiences we don't understand that there's characters, and because even when like they're talking, like there's some people who like in animes they'll say my name is this, but it incorporates the symbols of moon and raven inside of it, so you're the moon raven, and then they're like, oh, that's so cool, and then like they'll mention it in the anime, but when they mention it in English dub, we don't have that in America. That's a cultural thing.
Yeah.
So the joke will just fly over your head, and you're kind of going, because they'll translate it word for word. But the only problem is that in American cultures, we don't have that. So we just don't get it.
So then why isn't that the argument instead of it being like you just don't truly appreciate
because people
it?
don't look into it that way.
So then, and that's what kind of frustrates me about that kind of community, because like anime is great. Like I grew up watching Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z, and to this day, I still appreciate, the kind of, I wouldn't say life lessons because it's a lot of fighting and, training to be better and stuff like that. But the little life lessons that you can pull out from Dragon Ball Z about never giving up and all that stuff.
That's the,
like,
I will tell you can ask any anime watcher, and there's no anime watcher that will say I prefer the sub version of Dragon Ball Z.
That's another,
no, there are. There are.
No,
but that's okay. What's his?
I've met way more people that are going like I only watch the dub.
That's the thing, and that's what a lot of introduction to most anime fans was Dragon Ball or Dragon Ball Z. You know, and we watched the dubbed version.
Right.
And the same thing.
I watched the Spanish version. FYI.
Okay. No one asked. I'm trying to lay down.
Just trying to clarify.
Listen, this explains why you have bad taste in things.
What? Excuse
but
me.
The thing is that I also get not only the sub purists, but those sub purists as well too are also the ones that read mangas. But what's the manga in?
Don't you start hating on manga readers.
No, but I'm saying
I'm one of them. I'm one of them too, bro.
Yeah,
like
no, but like what when you're reading the manga, what's it in? It's in English.
Yeah.
No, it's in Japanese. I learned Japanese just for this.
Just because you're that purist.
No, I read it in English.
Yeah,
and
that's the thing.
You're right. In the manga there are some bad translations.
Yeah.
The same thing as in anything else, but the one interesting, so like just a really easy example, you guys have never watched an anime. It's called Jujutsu Kaisen.
No.
Jujutsu Kaisen is basically a mix between what was it? It's like demon slaying with like high school drama, where like it's basically a high school of demon slayers.
Okay.
There's a scene specifically inside of the Japanese that has gone viral because it's one of the funniest damn scenes I've ever seen. It's literally a scene of this guy meeting somebody for like the first time, and he asks him what kind of women he likes. And he says, and I can't repeat it on here, but go check out the link. It's basically he likes Jennifer Lawrence.
Oh wow.
Okay.
But in a previous episode, the same guy said the same answer. He said he liked Jennifer Lawrence. So it's but it's so funny in Japanese because of their dialogue and everything like that, and the way the voice actors portray it, where it's like, "Thank you, best friend." That's hilarious. Whereas it's like, "Oh, thanks, best friend."
That's how it's said in the anime?
That's how it's said in the actual anime. And so that's like and it's one of like the greatest scenes in that anime. And then when you go over to the dub, it doesn't sell as much. Where you're just like, oh, in the Japanese, this is like a funny joke. Like this is really funny. But in the English, it doesn't. It's not there. It doesn't hit as hard.
Gotcha.
So in that aspect, I would say that I always go with whatever you feel is like more comfortable for you.
Yeah,
honestly, like go with whatever. Like I watch dub because it's easier for me to like understand.
Yeah.
And if I have time to watch an anime in Japanese, then I'll watch the anime in Japanese.
If it's not available dubbed, I'll watch it subbed. But if it's like good, if it's the dub is fine, if it's convenient, I'm on that same boat with you. I'll watch dub. There's just certain things where it's like,
you're a good little weeb. I like it.
I'm not a weeb. I'm not a weeb.
You and your pink hat.
I'm not a weeb.
I just now noticed it was pink. Actually.
You just noticed he has
little
a
dinosaur.
pink
Yeah,
dinosaur hat?
Where'd you get that at?
Store in LA.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That was specific.
it's very
Way
specific.
to help them out in their business.
He
I
doesn't
forget.
remember.
No, I
That's
forget.
okay.
I forget the store.
Yeah.
I forget the store. But no, I get you in that sense.
Yeah.
But I think one of the reasons, well, we started talking about anime because, next week's podcast, Rene wants to talk about My Hero.
My Hero, yeah.
And he put me on a mission.
I can't wait.
He put me on a mission to catch up with the rest of My Hero.
Yeah.
I stopped after 3.5 seasons just because, not that I got bored, but it was like I had too much on my plate.
Yeah.
And then now that you've said it, like I'm on that binge again because I've watched like 15 episodes in like the last day or so. So like I'm getting there. I'm at like halfway through season 4 at this point.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Season 4 I love season 4. It's really good. The first arc is like very epic, but then the second arc is very relaxed.
Yes. Season 4 is a solid season. Because you have like a really intense arc, and you're right. There is like more of like a chiller arc near the end.
Yeah.
Which it's a good pace, which I like.
Season 5, which you're getting to, I think it only has 4 episodes in dub.
5 episodes. Yeah.
5 episodes in dub and 8 episodes in Japanese.
Yeah, so we'll get to that next week.
So-
To not break the 10-minute mark on the intro, Rene, you got to open this podcast
Yes,
up, right?
I do,
Go ahead and
yeah.
pull up the script. So we're going to jump into this issue of the podcast. It's going to be, I would say, pretty heavy issue. We got a lot of content for you guys this week.
Yeah.
But, as Renee's pulling up the issue, just to remind you guys, we do have a website if you guys are new to this podcast, keepingupwiththenerds.com, where you can find articles, which we'll have 2 by the time this podcast comes out. One written by our friend Nick over here, our buddy, one of the fellow nerds.
Yeah, after talking about Star Wars the other day, I felt a need to respond to the nerds.
Yes, so he's got one. I've got a written piece that will be kind of coinciding with the topic that we have today.
Yeah.
You want to know more about us, you can find all that info there, as well as our links to our socials, our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, which we have, podcasts going up there. And, we will be surprising you guys with some more content on the YouTube channel. Currently working on it. We've got everything stable, so we're heading that direction. But for now, Rene, intro the issue.
Hello, citizens. Welcome to Keeping Up with the Nerds Variety Hour, coming to you from 12920 Philadelphia Street in Whittier, California, aiming to be Whittier's #1 podcast of all things nerdy. I'm your host, Rene.
This is Bryan.
This is Nick.
And welcome to the show, everyone.
Issue 49?
Is it 49?
Is it, or 48?
Oh, man, this is the first time.
It's 48.
48.
48.
I'm the new guy, and I knew. Get together, guys. We're just
Get your
talking.
crap
We're
together.
just talking about how we had things together.
We do. We're getting there.
Like how Bryan goes back to, I said we were getting there.
No, we're actually working on a lot of stuff. We've been meeting to kind of have some redesigns. We're pushing out some content. We've got scripts written down for some videos that we're working on. There's a lot of stuff to look forward to in the next couple of months. Whoa!
What the heck?
What happened
That was
there?
like an explosion.
That monster was aggressive.
That's why it's called a monster. All right, don't you understand?
All right, cheers, guys. Cheers
boys.
to a
Alright,
good
drink mine
issue
over
here.
there. I'm not gonna wait.
So we've got a pretty heavy issue.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's going to be coinciding with an article that was gone up on the website. Let there be carnage. Surprise?
It was alright.
No, was it a surprise release of a trailer?
Yes and no. There was certain forums that were like, oh, here, like, there's a, because I got a, not a notification, but a post. I think it was like on Reddit, and someone was like, oh yeah, I heard rumors that the Venom 2 trailer is going to drop possibly next week, and it ended up being like a couple days later.
I got a notification on Facebook. You know how recommend certain pages?
Yeah.
It recommended ones like Marvel Universe Fanatics or something like that. And it's like, oh, the Venom 2 trailer will drop this Monday, and it was like on a Sunday night, and I'm like, okay, why would I trust the sources on this? And then turns out Monday it dropped.
So I feel like, because
So what you're saying is we need to go follow them. They're
I cannot
they
for the
seem to
life
know
of
their
me
crap.
remember it. I
But-
literally saw that and I was like, I don't think they're right. And then they turned out to be right. And now I can't remember who they were.
You know what the funny thing is that I watched that trailer 2 days after it came out. because I legitimately didn't care.
So whenever a trailer comes
I-
out for me,
I watched that trailer
Yeah.
because you told me I had to.
So whenever a trailer of like a comic book trailer comes out, I always have a ritual where I like get up, turn on my TV, watch it on my big screen TV, right? When the Venom 2 trailer came out, I was like, I'm just gonna watch on my phone with my earbuds. Like,
So I sit down on my couch,
I sit
right?
on my
TV
couch.
screen there, turn off, close all the blinds.
close all the blinds, sit there with my beans hanging out, you know?
He disrobes.
Yeah. Because I'm gonna get all sweaty from excitement, you know.
He's got to make sure his inner sweat is
Yeah, man.
is unleashed.
I was sweating at least 3 times over when Endgame came out.
Why do you have so many rituals for certain things? I get to, like, if I get a notification for a
you
trailer,
really get
I'm on there.
naked?
No, I don't get naked, but something's hanging out because I'm in my boxer shorts.
Something's hanging out.
Look, I just
feel
watch these.
so bad for whoever lives with you.
I just
girlfriend.
watch these trailers on my phone. I don't need a ritual. I'm just like, notification, great. I'll watch it. Done and done. Like, why? Why am I gonna
Doing
wait?
it all wrong, man.
Well, because okay, the internet. Do you know how many hours I spend on the internet? Like a bunch.
I don't know. I'm not with you 24/7.
Yeah, exactly. But I spend a lot of time on the internet. I haven't played Resident Evil 8. I've been trying my hardest to like hold off on it.
Same here.
Because I heard the end of that the end of that game is like really good.
Yeah.
And we still haven't finished Resident Evil 7.
That's the whole point. I haven't watched it.
Funny thing.
Yes.
So this, I know that we're straying further from the topic,
I
but I want to say this.
I was about to say. I was
Yeah.
like,
A
so
lot of
no,
people keep
Venom-
asking me if we're gonna finish.
So
Venom.
so it turns out that we are correct in being a bunch of scaredy cats because the producers that worked on 7 said that the audience reaction to it was that the game was too scary, that not a lot of people finished the game for that reason. I'm like, okay, great. So we're not like, total losers
Man,
here.
I played that thing in VR. What are you talking about?
Did you really?
I was in it. I was like,
wow.
I'm grabbing the zombies. Let's do it. I'm gonna grab me a zombie.
Did you watch the video where one of the ooze monsters like falls out of
Yeah.
the vent?
Yeah.
For
The
Brian, no, but our video for it.
Oh no, I didn't.
Oh, okay, we gotta show you this
yeah.
after then.
No, I haven't seen that one.
Brian's reactions. That's the thing. Is that that's what sometimes we put a pause on playing the game because sometimes Brian's reactions he has to like take a moment of like.
No,
I don't do well with horror.
And we're wearing headphones, which
What it-
actually amplifies the sound for us.
I've been playing horror. I actually back in the day, a buddy of mine, he got a game called I don't know if you guys have played it, Dead Space.
Yeah, I love Dead Space.
Yeah, he
Dead
played
Space
it.
is fun.
He played it. I think he played like 20 minutes of it, and then he came over to my house because he lives up the street. And then he literally came over and goes, "Dude, this game is way too scary. I can't play it.
Yeah.
Can you please play it, and I'll tell you what to do." And I was like, "All right," because he couldn't play the game because he was too scared of it, but he loved the game so much he read every strategy guide for it.
Yeah, I was in that same boat.
And so he knew where everything was. So we played that thing like a team where I was like running around shooting. And then he was like, go left, go left, go left. Don't go down that door. Don't go. That's an auto kill door. Don't go down.
Point being, we're gonna finish the Resident Evil playthrough. Okay. We're still working on stuff. I miss our Let's Plays.
Yeah, so we have to plan.
Yeah,
out
but we're
when they
busy.
come again. Yeah.
We're busy with stuff. Going back to Venom.
Going back to Venom.
Maybe I'll do a Let's Play in my underwear. That'd be fun.
Do it.
Do it already.
So how long
Start a
has it
Switch
been
channel.
since you've tried to convince me to watch Venom?
I think it's been.
A couple months,
I
right?
think it's been a couple of months. Almost. I want to say a little bit more because we talked about Venom in the beginning of making this podcast.
So I have never. Yes, my favorite superhero is Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I love anything and everything that has to do with Spider-Man.
Yeah.
But Venom, and I told Rene this, I refused to watch it because it hurt me that there was no Spider-Man.
Yeah, and that honestly, I think we could say that upon watching it now, that legitly kind of hurts the film a bit.
It does.
In your if you were going to give it a review, that's what hurts the movie.
Let me put it like this. When I saw Venom,
Yeah.
I don't remember 20 minutes of it.
It's like, was that it?
Because
Oh,
20
and I
minutes
saw
of
Venom.
it was like kind of just like
I fell asleep.
dialogue of just
honestly
unneeded dialogue.
I honestly fell asleep in the middle of the movie and I woke up at the climax.
Oh, I'm going to have a totally different opinion from you guys.
Oh, I hated this movie.
So the reason I wanted to bring about or wanted to talk about Let There Be Carnage was because that trailer inspired me to watch Venom.
Yes.
There was also a video that came out by IGN where I forget who the reviewer was, but he was kind of going through this entire explanation of like how Venom can survive without Spider-Man being an essential component.
Yeah.
He basically said that there wasn't like a really good way to do so, but because of its now written history where Venom essentially is a symbiote that comes from a planet from like a master symbiote, like a devil looking person, and apparently the crest on his chest isn't a spider but it's a symbiote dragon now that's like a symbol of all symbiotes out there. Whatever the history may be, it's expanded big enough that it doesn't have to heavily rely on Spider-Man's history.
According to Andy Serkis, though, he did say that in the movie, the director of the movie said that because Spider-Man's not in it, it's not that he's not around, it's just that Eddie Brock and Carnage have not met him.
So they're technically around there, just they haven't met.
Yeah, like they haven't heard of Spider-Man. So he could be like a Spider-Man early years where he hasn't really done anything that's like super big.
That's true.
Or anything like that. What it sounds like is the studio isn't leaving out room where it's like, no, Spider-Man's never going to be in here.
Yeah.
And then the next movie, they're like, Disney goes like, I'll give you $30 trillion. What did we say?
And then also, the Venom movie takes place in San Francisco.
Yeah,
It is
not in
based off
New York.
New York. So.
But given the fact that Venom has like an extensive history now, you know, he's not just the symbiote that binded with Spider-Man and then, you know, made a union with Eddie Brock after they both found out that they were like rejects essentially in society. I gave Venom a shot because I'm like, okay, you know, let's see how they managed to produce a film about Venom without Spider-Man.
Wasn't the point of Venom that the symbiote was rejected by Spider-Man and Eddie Brock was rejected by Peter?
No.
Where they both had
Peter Parker ruined his career.
Right.
He was getting he basically, his fiance, I think, or his girlfriend left him.
Right.
And he became like a loser essentially. So the only reason they bonded was because Venom hated Spider-Man.
That's
And
what I'm
Eddie
saying.
Brock also hated Spider-Man. They said, like, why don't we just go after them together? Why don't we just get it?
I feel like that's every fired person that's at a bar that's drunk with like a crazy dude.
Right?
Where it's just like, you know what we should do? We should kill him.
Yeah, I like that idea. Let's just go.
I got a shovel in my backseat. Let's do it.
No, but that's essentially what it is. And so when I gave Venom a shot, I went in there, same as you. Well, you said, just don't go in it with any expectations. I don't know why, but I liked it to an extent. Okay, not that I don't know why. I know why.
Yeah.
I just don't know why I do like it to that extent, like reasonably.
Yeah.
So, okay, before I go into my thoughts, I want to know what you told me. Like, tell the listeners what you told me about, like, what your thoughts on Venom were.
So my thoughts on Venom personally is that I did enjoy for what it was, but at the same time, there were certain aspects of the way that the writing was because they had to take out Spider-Man. It just felt like, oh yeah, like the whole like, oh yeah, when Eddie Brock meets the symbiote suit and when they're actually talking after the whole chase thing, he's like, I'm Venom. I'm like, dude, you just call yourself Venom then? It was just like,
yeah, the symbiotes are like, oh, I'm Riot.
Yeah, like I'm already Riot. It's
Okay.
like,
Yeah, so I guess they already have a name. What I felt when I was watching that movie is they had to add extra dialogue and extra scenes of dialogue because Spider-Man wasn't there.
Yeah.
And because Spider-Man's not a thing, now we have to overly explain.
Yes.
And it becomes this weird thing of, okay, we can't just say because of Spider-Man. Now we have to do this convoluted reason on why Venom is not only sentient, he knows his name, he has the symbol on his chest and everything like that, but they don't know who the hell Spider-Man is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
and that's weird. It's a really weird thing. I don't know why the studios did it. Like they should. Like it's Sony. Why don't you just? All you had to say was it was inside of. It took place after Spider-Man 3, and you got to put it in.
not even after Spider-Man 3.
Yeah.
If you want to disassociate yourself from that franchise, essentially what you say is, you know, the ship landed and crashed on Earth. Then a couple years passed, then the symbiote, which attached itself to an unnamed superhero, detached itself and then formed itself with Eddie Brock.
Yeah.
That's perfectly fine.
I feel like that's the beginning of like a bad '90s TV show.
it would have explained things a lot better, because you're 100% right that the film added extra dialogue to kind of fill in the gaps. But it's kind of like fixing a broken like plate with duct tape. It's still not going to look the same. It's not going to do its purpose correctly. And that's kind of what it did.
It still leaks.
It still leaks. It's still, it like, as a fan, as us who know this kind of history, the concepts of Venom, we went into it going like, yeah, this doesn't make sense, and that seems out of place, and just this didn't fit, like it didn't feel right.
You know what? The other thing is that I didn't care. I really didn't care about Riot, and I didn't care about Venom.
Well, because they didn't explain the other symbiotes. Let me put it to you this way, okay? Before I get to the reasons as to why I actually like this film, there were symbiote colors that resembled well-known symbiotes, and as a fan, I can't go in there going like, that looks like Scream. That looked like Anti-Venom. Like, you can't do that because there was a symbiote that was yellow, black, and a little bit of red.
Yeah.
Who is that? That's Scream.
That's Scream.
So why the heck are you doing that? Like, are these little nods? Okay, yes, if you're doing these little nods, I understand that.
Yeah.
But then you can't do that, you know, knowing that Spider-Man fans are watching this.
And that's the thing, is that the studio, I remember the studio saying that they were going to dwell more into the lesser known symbiotes. And I was like, okay, I'm like, that's cool. But the thing is what the first movie did is that, okay, we have all these different symbiotes, like, and stuff like that, and they just died off because they didn't find the right host, apparently.
But technically speaking, these symbiotes could still exist on that planet, because these are just symbiotes without a name. The only ones that we know of are Venom and Riot, which were just names given to them.
But that's the thing. How are we going to get those symbiotes from this? Because they were going to do the whole Riot was going to go on to the planet with the ship, but now obviously at the end of the movie, he dies.
I'm still trying to figure out how he gets Carnage.
Yeah, because Carnage is a spawn of Venom.
Yeah, that's the thing.
I'm trying to figure out how exactly he gets Carnage with him being in jail.
Yeah.
And being in lockup.
Well, keep in mind that even the story of Carnage now is still confusing, because technically he's an offspring of Venom, but somehow he's tied into the devil.
Yeah.
And that was like a weird arc in Absolute Carnage as well. So like some of the stuff doesn't make any sense unless they're borrowing some stuff.
Wasn't that when he like made a cult?
Yeah.
Of like homeless people.
Yep.
And then they all started killing for him.
So there's a lot of history for Carnage for this film to like work, which brings me to this point. This is why I kind of liked it, because when I took my Spider-Man helmet off and I just saw this movie as like, you know, a normal, not, you know, someone who's just not educated in the Spider-Verse, there are some good elements to it, you know, simply made, very straightforward, quote-unquote superhero movie.
Yeah. I imagine that when you watch a Spider-Man movie, you're in a Spider-Man onesie with like a Spider-Man foam finger.
Yeah.
And wearing like the 99-cent store Spider-Man.
Why do you listen? And Andy will testify this for me.
Walmart.
The greatest. No.
Not
Listen,
even a Walmart.
Listen to me.
You had to say 99-cent store Spider-Man.
Listen. You joke about this, but Andy will testify to this. The greatest moment of my life in the MCU verse is when the title card read Queens. That was the moment.
Civil War?
Yes. The moment that title card popped up, I was in tears.
Did she register for like spousal abuse because you turned around and just started like going,
Why do you always make me out to be? I'm trying to be the sentimental one here right now. No, that was like absolutely like one of the best moments of the MCU for me.
Okay.
I would imagine that's when you fanboyed out.
I was crying. Like he wasn't even on screen, and I was already crying. I was just like, oh my god, dude, this is actually happening.
Yeah.
It was so great. Yes, I freaking love Spider-Man. I love him to death.
I know you do. That's why I'm very surprised where you're like, I kind of liked this movie.
Yes, because when I was watching this, I was at my other job, and
wow, it's just
I was doing nothing. So what was I supposed to do?
You were such a hard worker.
I am. Because I clearly have time to not do anything.
Venom.
Yes. So I was talking to one of my coworkers, and she was like, "Oh, you're watching Venom?" I'm like, yeah. It's like, "Oh, that's cool. I really like the film." And I'm like, "Do you know anything about Spider-Man?" "No, I don't even care about comics, but I thought it was a good film." And I asked her, I'm like, "Why did you actually like this?" "Oh, because I think it was like, you know, the action was okay, the story wasn't that bad. It just had really good, you know, I just liked it." So I took off the Spider-Man fanboy hat, and I said, "Okay, let me like dissect this." And there were clear moments. I did exactly that. Just take the mask.
Take the mask.
Take the mask off.
There were some good moments that really were kind of fun.
No, so and then that's what makes me like the movie is at least Tom Hardy's performance.
Tom Hardy's performance
Tom Hardy's
was great.
performance is sick, but
Yeah.
Tom Hardy always gives a sick performance. I
That's
was never
another
worried
thing.
about
Yeah.
Tom Hardy.
That's
Yeah.
another thing. Yeah.
Tom Hardy was this is a great Eddie Brock, I think.
And Venom. He plays Venom too.
Does
the voice?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And the way that they did it was that they had Tom Hardy say Venom's lines, and then they augmented his voice, so that way it still had Eddie Brock's cadence
Okay.
and stuff like that. So that way it was, oh yeah, they're becoming one.
Yeah. Which
stuff
is
like that.
exactly what the symbiote does. And that's kind of what eased me into this, like, okay, like I'm enjoying it.
Don't get me wrong, they got a lot of things right.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things right. I feel the movie just slowed down an hour and a half in, and you're just kind of going like, somebody better hit somebody or something.
There
No,
wasn't
it does-
enough action, but
that's
when
the
it
thing.
mattered, it was
Yeah.
good.
Yeah.
The motorcycle scene was pretty
Motorcycle scene was cool, but also the fact that the other hard part of it was, and I feel like that's what Sam Raimi did, and Sam Raimi felt the same thing, was that when you have two figures that are both CGI, how do I care?
That's true.
And I feel like that's why a lot of the Venom scenes inside of Spider-Man 3, he unmasks and you see the actor. And you see Topher Grace, because that way you can at least see his face and you see his performance. When you see a CGI creature talking to another CGI creature, you can't connect with them. It's
But you're
hard
talking
to
about the
connect.
Venom riot scenes, right?
Yeah.
Those weren't bad scenes for me. I kind of enjoyed them because they were decent. Like even the scene where they're all kind of meshing in together,
Right.
and then the camera slowly pans around and you see both Tom Hardy and what's his face's name. They're like
Yeah.
kind of like fighting in there.
What's his face?
I can't remember his name. I'm sorry. He was a good actor too.
I'll look it up.
But you know that scene was a cool scene. It
Yeah.
wasn't terrible. It's just like I have to really kind of step away from that Spider-Man fan base to find a reason why this is a good movie for me to watch. Granted, I'm not going to watch it again. I think that one time is okay. And maybe if like, would I recommend this? Sure. If you're not a big comic book reader and just want like something fun to like put in the background, it's a good movie for that.
The actor's name was Riz Ahmed.
Thank you. Riz
yeah.
Ahmed. He was a good actor too.
He was,
Played his character pretty well.
he was in Rogue One.
Yes.
Doing what?
He was the
He
guy
was
that.
the guy that Witch Out worked for the Empire.
Yeah.
He was on the squad.
Ah,
He's the guy that gets blown up.
well, fun. That's fun.
Jesus.
Just gets blown up, right? That's what your character.
Oh wait, hold on.
He gets blown up
hold on.
again in Venom.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. I want to go back to this. He's the one that like protects everyone, because I didn't want to make that sound wrong. No.
In the ship.
Yes.
Oh, he's the one that basically like
He's the one that gets
Stayed
that gets,
behind.
like- yeah, he also gets like mind flared by the squid.
Oh yeah. Went all hentai on him.
Yeah, when the squid monster went like
when was this?
inside of Saw Gerrera's like base.
I got to rewatch that.
Yeah, that's when
This is a
like he's
movie you
like
like.
he's like
Yeah.
Papa Nukunu will find out all your secrets.
Last time I watched this was when I had to quarantine myself at home. It was last year, so I have to rewatch it again this year.
Yeah, then a squid monster did things to him.
I might have to do another Star Wars marathon.
I'm down.
I'm down too.
Yeah, that was fun. From episode 1 all the way to
I might get really annoying though.
9. That's fine. I've seen the movies enough. I don't really need to pay attention to it
Okay,
as
I
much.
think we're planning something here now. It's like,
But granted, it's like, there were certain elements of Venom that, I felt like I enjoyed. And I don't think the CG was a problem. I think, it did what it was supposed to do. I just think that most of the problems that come in, granted what you just said, Rene, is that this story doesn't fit with Spider-Man, without Spider-Man, So when we look at this and think about like, how is Let There Be Carnage going to work without it? Woody Harrelson is going to be
Carnage.
Cassidy, right?
yeah, Cletus Cassidy.
Yeah, you see him at the end of Venom.
Yeah. Do you
What
guys
got?
picture him to be a good Cletus Cassidy?
Oh yeah.
I don't. You know what?
Have you ever seen Woody Harrelson play a crazy dude?
Yeah,
he does
I mean-
really well.
He is the likely choice. And then when that was announced, I think like before the movie came out, I was kind of like, that's not bad.
But okay, tell me, is he good enough to act like a demented Cletus Cassidy?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because my
he has the
image
potential.
because my image of Cletus Cassidy is like he's kind of hunched head tilted, like just ready to stab you multiple times, kind of crazy.
No, not to me. I think he's more just kind of like the quiet one, but then at the same time, when he hears something that amuses him, he'll say something and stuff like that.
I'm gonna be totally honest with you. The best person to probably play Cletus Cassidy would have probably been Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger?
Yeah.
Because of the Joker?
Yes. Because the way he played the Joker, you would have taken that same kind of craziness with Cletus Cassidy's like thing for fun, and I think you could have really.
Oh yeah.
But I think that even like Heath Ledger's acting is more visual. He uses, because even in The Dark Knight, he used a lot of hand motions and stuff. Cletus doesn't use that in the comic books as much. He's more of like I don't care what kind of reasoning you try to give at me. I'm gonna go and do what I want.
Though, it's totally different because the Joker doesn't use his hands a lot either. But in a visual medium, that's like you can use your hands, and that's fine.
The Joker doesn't use his hands, but he is an action speaker. He doesn't speak, he mainly acts. He tries to use his words to get you to think of something. And Cletus, in a way, doesn't do that. He kind of like lets it be more of his actions rather than his words. He barely even talks. His talking is like, okay, I'm going to talk, but you're wasting my time because I could be stabbing you right now at this moment.
Can you imagine if the Carnage symbiote got into the Joker?
That would be pretty.
That would be like
Marvel, DC,
right?
just collab right
just
there.
Collab
Why don't you?
And just do a quick like what if?
A what if Joker got the symbiote?
Yeah, got the Carnage symbiote.
Which symbiote though?
Carnage.
No, I feel like Carnage is too easy.
No, but like, can you imagine the pure destruction?
I would actually love it because I really liked it like when Scarecrow got the yellow ring.
Oh,
when he becomes a lantern.
Yeah,
I love that.
That
is a genius. That's genius.
Let me pitch you this idea. Okay?
No.
Yes.
Joker
and Carnage.
About Scarecrow. So what about Joker and Carnage?
Joker and Carnage bond.
Right.
But they never become one because they're always arguing in their heads, which leads to one of them always trying to one-up each other in certain acts.
So it's always like
Carnage just wants straight carnage.
Power control
dynamic. And Joker just wants like to manipulate people and get in their heads.
I think that would be so interesting if it was a thing of Joker and Carnage, but because Joker has so many voices in his own head, he's trying to collect the other symbiotes.
Oh, I see what you mean.
And like and because he's such like it's just because he's nuts, like he's just like
control all of them.
I want to just try and control every
and that's
single
when you
one
have
of the symbiotes.
Batman have obtained the Venom symbiote.
Do you guys have a favorite symbiote, by the way?
No,
mine's Venom.
Okay, you don't care.
Okay.
I don't like it when people say that their favorite symbiote is Carnage.
Oh, because that means a lot.
That's the thing. It's the same. No, because it's the exact same thing when someone says their favorite comic book character is Joker. That's it. And they don't even like Batman, but they like Joker.
Wait, I just want to know what Nick meant by that means a lot. Like he said it like that just means a lot. What do you mean that means a lot?
No. I get what you mean.
No, I want you to explain yourself because someone might be listening and they're going to be like, "What do you mean?"
The character that I connect with most is a sociopath and enjoys blood and death.
That's not what I'm saying. That their favorite. I'm saying their favorite symbiote. My favorite symbiote is Venom.
You mean like the look? Like it just looks cool?
No, like generally, like their favorite character in like. Or favorite symbiotic character.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, that's weird. If you say
I agree, it's weird. It's just the way you said it was just like that explains a lot.
It does explain a lot.
It does. That's the thing.
They probably hurt dogs
because,
like,
it's that one kid that constantly just like would throw stuff at a cat.
That's
on the way home to school.
That's the kid that gets bored and like burns ants with like a magnifying glass.
I mean, I'm not going to disagree.
No, but the thing is that's the thing. It's. Because when you say favorite symbiote character, you're also implying that they also at some point have to relate with that character in order to like that. I don't
relate with Venom. I just think Venom is a pretty, had a pretty badass character development. He went from being a villain to somewhat of a hero, but like not really because he still hurt people. But he still hates Spider-Man, and their team ups are always kind of weird. Like
that's why I love. I mean, that's why I love Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Because Harley Quinn is dope because she went from being a sidekick to a main villain into like basically Batman's psychiatrist now.
Basically.
Yeah.
But what I give respects to Harley Quinn is that how she separated herself from the
She
Joker.
did. She separated herself from the Joker. And
Now they did.
It worked. And it totally works.
Yeah.
She does not need the Joker. That is a character that can stand on her own 2 feet. And I love it.
But I agree with you.
And her mortal enemy is Damian Wayne. No, I love that.
That's so true. That's so true.
I agree with you in the sense that like there's something to be said about people that like Carnage. And I'm always so confused to this day because people will say like he's just a really cool character, man. He just doesn't care. He just goes around killing stuff. And I'm like, yeah. Because okay, do you ever read the Scarlet Spider arc where he fights Carnage?
Yes.
Have you read it?
Yeah, where what he does to Carnage?
It's a good arc. It's a good arc.
Yeah.
At the end of it, he basically lobotomizes Cassidy, which is like
That's interesting.
Yeah, because this Scarlet Spider has like little things coming out of his like.
I think,
wrist and stuff like that.
lobotomy is always like such an interesting choice of like.
It's
this is all I'm gonna
interesting
do.
It's not
for a
killing
reason,
them,
though.
but it's like
It's worse.
yeah.
So no, because it was an interesting arc because he lobotomizes Cassidy. He gets put back in jail, but then the end of it isn't good because Carnage has more control over Cassidy's body.
Yes.
And that's how that ends. And I'm like, that's cool. That's how you do a character really well. Like you don't just kill him, you know? You can like improve upon that.
I wonder when did that come out?
Ooh.
It was years ago.
I have the original issues.
And then
Would you
for a
say
while-
would you say prior to 2006?
This was
A little after that.
A little after that?
Yeah.
Cool. Stole from DC.
I can
what
just
did
hear
DC
DC
do?
fanboys go like,
What did
"No!"
DC do?
DC which DCAU with the Injustice League.
Oh, that's right.
They lobotomized all of the villains inside the DC universe. That's how they created peace across the world.
I'd have to see who it was written by to see if there was some sort of
It's
resemblance
like I think
to
it's
it.
like 2006, 2004, something like that.
Yeah, because that came out I think like around 2010.
Stole it.
Yeah.
With confidence saying it was stolen.
Paul Dini and Bruce Timm, man, you can't get better writers.
What's going on with Carnage now in the comic book world?
So right now he is back. They resurrected Cletus Cassidy for some reason, or the
How?
Carnage. I don't know. I haven't read that yet. But before that,
Who
Carnage,
would resurrect a serial killer?
the Cult of Carnage, apparently
Yeah.
that was an issue that came out. And basically, but before that, the symbiote attached itself to Norman Osborn, and he
What happened to,
became
like,
the
cool
Red
cults?
Goblin.
That's cool.
He came with the Red Goblin, and when he fused with the when Carnage symbiote fused with Norman Osborn, he apparently he would have like fire coming out of him, and he was impervious to fire when he was with Norman Osborn.
That is kind of sick.
Yeah, so because you know how fire was one of their weaknesses,
Fire and sound.
it doesn't work with when he's with Norman Osborn. At least fire doesn't. Sound still works though.
That's kind of sick though.
Yeah, so that's
That is
cool.
that is a cool idea.
And then
That's a
I
cool
think
idea.
in that same issue, it was like Peter Parker realized that he had to form with the Venom symbiote again to get the power to be strong enough to take on Red Goblin as well too.
That would be really interesting if you had Carnage and Ghost Rider combined.
Didn't Venom fuse with Ghost Rider at one point?
No, it was like a Venom verse. I think that's what they did, where it was like a different
Different universe.
different
universes
people.
of how symbiotes
And
attached to different Marvel
Because-
characters.
I think it was was it Johnny Blaze that he connected to, or
Yes.
was it?
It was Johnny Blaze. Yeah.
Because I know the canon hosts for Venom are Eddie Brock, Flash Thompson.
Yes.
Then he fused with some cartels for some time.
Oh, it was like some guy that worked for the cartel.
Yeah.
And then wasn't there also Agent Venom?
That was still Flash Thompson.
It's Flash Thompson.
Because Flash Thompson was Agent Venom since the military wanted to kind of like say like, hey, we're sorry your legs blew up. We're going to give you this treatment. And it ended up being the symbiote.
And then he went with the Guardians.
He was in
then
space.
He became Space Knight because he went to the planet of symbiotes and got like reprogrammed and stuff. The symbiote at least unlocked a lot of things in it that it can do more stuff.
And then came back down to Earth.
Yes.
Then Flash
Was he a
let him
villain then?
go. No.
So what happened was I think the symbiote let go of Flash for a minute because Flash became anti-Venom. And that's a white one. Yeah, there's so much stuff.
Anti-Venom is cool. though.
Anti-Venom
Like,
was cool.
gotta
And that was
agree.
Eddie Brock first around a time. I have that story arc as well too. When
Comics are fun.
They are. That's what we've been saying for the last 40 issues.
So again, let me say this: when Anti-Venom became to be, it was because Scorpion became the new Venom, and then when
that's right,
when Eddie Brock met with the Scorpion Venom, I'm closing my eyes while I'm saying this.
I'm trying to remember,
like Professor XY. So I'm just like, and Eddie Brock got cancer because he was with the Venom for so long. It gave him tumors, and then next thing you know, when the Venom reattached to him, it spawned a new Venom from his antibodies and formed a white Venom suit.
This is before the Spider Island arc.
Yes.
Okay, I recall.
Yes.
I remember this. I remember that.
And for the longest time, Eddie Brock became Anti-Venom.
Yes.
He could stab people with his like little fingers and then cure them of like if they've ever been infected by any sort of symbiote.
The reason why the symbiote gave Eddie Brock tumors is because the symbiote at some point, which is kind of explained. Mm-hmm. Oh my God!
Oh, they do that in the movie.
Legitimately are sounding like nerds, which is
I
really
know.
great.
Honestly, I'm just staring at you.
We're more nerding out right now than Nick is. Usually, it's the other way around. Nick knows a little bit more than we do.
Cracks the knuckles. Here we go, boys. Spider-Man time.
I don't know a lot about Spider-Man and Venom, so I'm just kind of listening and just going like.
Our listeners are literally like, what the F?
That's how I feel right now. I'm just kind of looking at you, going like.
So if I'm not mistaken, the symbiote slowly eats away at the host, right?
Yes.
Which is what kind of was explained when he was bonded with Peter Parker at
Yes.
first.
And so, it was also explained in the movie too.
It was to an extent.
They touched onto that.
Yes, it wasn't to that extent where it was like, oh, he's killing off like every single organ and eating your pancreas and stuff like that. But it was like slowly consuming, and the symbiote would kind of like form into the person's body.
Why did he explain that he likes tater tots and
chocolate?
What was that?
So what I've heard is that chocolate. Again, I did research on this too as well. Is that chocolate? What they like is like they like to eat the human brain.
Yes,
because it gives them an endorphin.
Right.
Chocolate mimics that endorphin.
And that's true to life.
That's canon within Marvel.
That's canon in Marvel, but it's also true to life.
What
you
about
know that, right?
No.
What about tater
chocolate?
tots?
It does kind of like stimulate the brain positively.
All right, cool. Give me that same science with tater tots.
It does. I don't think.
I don't know. That was a whole nother thing. He just, I guess.
Is that canon to the comics?
You know why? Is because he was eating a bag of tater tots in the film and the frozen tater tots. Remember when he was like, he's hungry and stuff like that?
But they don't explain that he likes tater tots. He just ate tater tots at first because Eddie Brock was hungry.
Yeah, it was hungry because the suit was hungry. So I guess they like the taste of tater tots.
So he just likes that.
With chocolate, yes.
But chocolate is canon.
Chocolate is a thing. Chocolate,
but
again,
not the tater tots.
Not the tater tots.
But in the movies, tater tots.
Yes, tater tots, and chocolate.
I hate you guys so much. Can we talk about Star Wars?
No, we're still going to the Venom thing.
Well, we haven't even talked about like what we thought of the trailer.
Because you guys have been explaining
47 minutes in.
I'm so confused. We only have 40 minutes left.
We have like half an hour. Stop. So like that, but that's like kind of like the history of like what we see with the symbiotes.
That's a small brief of what's happened with Venom over the past recent years, at least.
That was brief?
Yes, dude, we can literally go on for like 2 hours talking about the Venom history because it's changed so much.
My thing is that I've always felt, does Venom deserve his own movie? Yes.
No. Yes.
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 Because he's because it's a big enough brand.
Yes.
That
I will agree with you there.
You can absolutely do it. Does he have enough stories? Absolutely.
Yes.
But
no,
is it needed?
The answer, yes, it's needed. Like, no, like
if it was part of Spider-Man's.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying though. With all of this other stuff and all of those stories, this is what I'm saying. With all of those stories, in some way or another, it still connects to Spider-Man, right?
Yes, of course.
Yes, because that's how it started.
Okay, awesome. How do I do that now? How do I do this story that is ultimately ends with because of Spider-Man with
you're asking
all
me
of
to,
these characters?
You're asking me to to put on a producer's hat and say like, how do you do this?
Yeah.
Okay.
And make this movie good.
Make me like this movie.
Make me like this movie.
Can I repeat what Nick said last week?
What?
Multiverse.
I hate you. No.
No, legitimately, because that's probably the only way you can make it connect.
I hate that answer so much.
So do I. Yeah. You think I'm fine with that answer? No, I legitimately no. Listen, now you're asking me to do this, so I'm going to do this right now. Okay, so grab your pens and papers. All right, Hollywood producers, because if you want to fix this crap, we're going to go ahead and start doing this right now. So the So let me explain to you how you fix this, okay? So we still move on with this entire story to the point where, so the Venom symbiote has, fused with Eddie Brock, and Eddie Brock gets an assignment. He's got to go to New York, right? This is probably like year 5, or I don't need a pen. I was just joking. It was for a bit.
It's a free comic book day pen.
Oh, thanks. So he moves to New York, okay?
Yeah.
So as he's moving to New York, he ends up kind of covering the stories of Spider-Man, right? Venom and Eddie get into this little debacle. Now that Venom wants to save this planet or whatnot, he's kind of, experiencing this idea that, maybe this symbiote doesn't have the best intentions in mind. I'm trying to get through my life. I'm trying to still be a reporter. I have the possibility of, doing something with my life at this point. Why do I have to spend my time trying to please this symbiote? Venom gets angry and says, you know what? Because in the movie, you kind of get this idea that he does have his own mind. He kind of does, have his own thoughts and stuff like that. Eddie, thanks for your time, but I'm going to leave. Spider-Man enters the story. He's having a rough time. He can't figure out how to manage his life and balance everything out and whatnot. In comes Venom. I can promise you this. I can grant you the abilities to balance out your social life and fighting crime. You want to save this planet? I will help you do so. Cool. They bond. You get the black suited Spider-Man.
Okay.
That's how you do it. It's not difficult.
And then cue the Eminem song. Venom.
No, but that's going to get us copywritten. But that's how you simply do it. Like, you just got to split them away for a bit.
Yeah.
And then when that doesn't work out, he goes back to Eddie Brock.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, that was a weird song in the middle of that movie.
It was at the end.
But I mean, like, just in general, like at the very end of this movie,
it was too cliche.
Yeah,
I didn't like it.
Yeah, it's like I feel
it's like the early 2000 songs that you would hear in.
I felt like it was "Kiss from a Rose." Because it was a song that was promoted for this movie, and they promoted it really hard.
And you know what sucks is that you can't mimic "Kiss from a Rose."
No,
that's just. Like when you hear that, you automatically just assume like, oh yeah, Batman Forever. Like you like.
No, I mean it's a solid. Like as soon as you hear it, you go Batman Forever.
Yeah.
So
even its music video is Batman Forever. It literally has Seal singing in front of a bat signal as Batman is running in a silhouette. It's hilarious.
So let me ask you guys this, okay? Going to the trailer now.
Yes.
Right.
Okay, we're not going to get Spider-Man.
No.
I don't think Sony has the balls to go in and say, like, can we borrow Spider-Man for like 10 minutes? What are they going to do with Let There Be Carnage? I thought that the trailer was okay. It got me inspired to watch the Venom movie for the first time after 3 years.
Yeah.
It did something. Okay. I like the design of Carnage, but I think that's all I'm going to say.
So
that's the thing is that I had to really look at it again to see like, wait, is that Carnage or is that Venom? I know it's supposed to be Carnage, but like the coloring,
the scenes were too dark.
They were too dark to tell.
Yeah.
So, what I think. All right. Here's my pitch for the movie. Here's my pitch.
Grab your pens and papers, boys. Let's do this.
Yeah, you better be taking notes. Because when I'm right, I'm gonna yell it at the top of my lungs when I'm right. No. Okay. So, the movie,
I'm gonna tell you right now, if my idea is right, if they somehow manage to do that, I'm walking out and moving to Hollywood. Next
you live
day.
I
live in LA.
You live in LA.
Yes.
That's a 30-minute drive.
But I'm talking about next door to like Paramount.
Do you know how expensive that is?
It's not Paramount. Who is it? Columbia?
What? Columbia, yeah.
So I don't know what studio they have.
Who?
You don't even know where
Sony.
you're moving. You don't even know where you're going.
Anyways, okay, what's your pitch? What's your pitch? What's your pitch?
So, here's my pitch. Eddie Brock and the Venom and the symbiote have been working together. They have been fighting crime, per se, more cleaning up the city of San Francisco. At this point, because of Cletus Cassidy's execution, Cletus Cassidy has found out Eddie Brock's home address and is now sending letters to him, basically like telling him, I want you at my execution. I want you at the execution. One of the letters is written inside of Cletus Cassidy's blood. At that point, Eddie Brock touches it. He then gets connected to the blood. That's what starts forming the Carnage symbiote. Now, when he actually goes to go see Cletus Cassidy, Cletus Cassidy then he goes to go see him before his execution. When he's leaving after their conversation, saying like, you're never gonna make it out of this prison, yada yada yada. We'll see you fry on the thing. The Carnage symbiote slinks over to him, goes into his cell, and then embraces it. He doesn't manifest until the execution, because that's the manifesting scene that you see inside the trailer when he's being executed, and you see the Carnage symbiote as you're getting the lethal injection, and then shoots back out. And you see the Carnage symbiote going through the hose.
Yeah.
He then escapes. What was that? What's the girl that's with him inside of There Will Be Carnage?
I don't know.
He breaks her out of the Draven school.
Okay.
He breaks her out along with the other one. But before then, she sees that he's been executed because they already printed the papers. Everything like that. It's in the papers. And then he then starts going down. And inside of San Francisco, he starts either killing or he starts converting homeless people into his cult.
So you're talking about absolute carnage.
Absolutely. Because inside the trailer, what you can see is inside of the background of the police officer, you can actually see that he has an entire district of San Francisco cordoned off and multiple marks. That section of San Francisco is known for its homeless population.
There's a bit of a catch. There's a Daily Bugle newspaper. So does this take place in San Francisco or in New York?
Now, here's the thing, though. The Daily Bugle isn't just in New York, so it's still in San Francisco. You can still get the Daily Bugle out of New York.
I don't like that idea.
Why?
I just don't. It's just so... I don't know. I just don't.
Why?
I don't. My gut tells me I don't like that idea.
Okay, but I'm telling you from what I've seen of the trailer.
I understand that.
So
my gut says I don't like the idea.
I like that. That's funny.
Why do I like these movies? You see me still here? I'm still here.
Of course. I'm not saying that I liked
here.
it. I'm not saying I liked it. I'm just saying it was okay.
Listen, I just gave a pitch. That was it. You don't have to shoot it down. You don't have to shoot it like it's a pet in the street.
We both gave pitches, okay? They're not going to get picked up. Now, if it does come to be true that yours is right, you can yell at me.
All right, fine. I gave one. Renee, what do you think? Off of what you've seen from the first trailer, what do you think this movie's going to be about?
Yeah, how does Carnage come to be?
I honestly, with this movie and how I saw the trailer for it, I really have low expectations for this.
Yeah,
movie. I don't even know. I'm just gonna take it as it is.
I just don't like the blood part.
What do you mean?
That he touches it and then the symbiote reacts to it, and that's how Carnage is born.
That's what I thought. That was the most creative thing, as of like
Just
having
seems
having.
so-
To
Wait a
have,
minute, hold on. That was the only creative thing? Forget you.
This was.
So what was a bigger slap to the face, mine or Renee's
Both
insult?
of you. You're supposed to be my friends. What the heck?
The Cult of Carnage thing, I kind of got like that. But
I get it from the comments. I don't need it from you. It's ridiculous.
It's just there's not much to pull out of this film.
that's the thing.
Or this
because
trailer, excuse me.
Okay, overall, if we're going to talk about the trailer right now, it's because this is a very weak trailer. It doesn't show you a lot because they're not trying to show you a lot.
So then who is this aimed for?
This is aimed for people that like the first one and also people that are just Carnage fans.
So international.
Because that's the whole gist of this, is that because they have to say Venom, let there be Carnage, it's going to bring in Carnage fans, regardless if they like it or not.
Internationally, this movie raked in more than 3/4 of its entire box office.
Did you see the posters for the international Venom one?
The Chinese poster's the weakest one for this movie.
No.
In the Let There Be Carnage one? Yes.
No. I'm talking about the first movie.
Oh, in the Venom
first?
movie? Yes,
Yeah.
those were pretty badass.
I would have went to see that movie.
Yeah,
That
but
is
I'm talking about
that is
Let There Be
totally not
Carnage.
selling the movie.
Let There
me
Be Carnage is like, American poster is great because you see the Carnage teeth. The Chinese version, it's dumb. It's literally like tentacles.
Well, that's what they like.
So the first
it doesn't
one,
get me to go watch it.
It'll
So
get
the first
Chinese,
one?
it'll get the
Okay.
Chinese to watch it. They'll think it's a different movie.
and what it's for the Chinese poster you said?
Yeah, the Chinese poster for Let There Be Carnage.
I'm telling you, they'll go see it because of that.
It's not a good one. Regardless of it, the trailer is just like,
oh yeah,
whatever.
I see what you mean.
Yeah.
It's not like a lot is happening. It's just basically
it's a bland like spiky tentacles.
Yeah,
and
like
that's it.
Venom looks like Venom. Venom totally looks like Venom, even in the Venom movie.
No, yeah, he does.
one of the other things I
looks
really
good.
liked about it.
It looks fine.
But
So-
it's just
I don't know if you've seen it, Nick. It's basically like my Mike's movie. It's basically like that. It's Venom, and then like him covered in like red
tentacles. That's all it is. Yeah, it's nothing too creative. But the American version is a lot better.
That doesn't look great.
So even Carnage. Okay,
looks-
so if I were to take out one good aspect of the trailer, Carnage doesn't look bad. I think the version of Carnage that we're gonna get here
I haven't seen.
is
You haven't
decent.
seen Carnage yet, so how do you know?
Because he comes out with like all these spiky stuff out of his like back, and it's
But they literally have him in the dark to hide any detailed features.
fine. He looks okay. I'm not saying he looks fantastic. I'm just saying
this
he
movie
looks okay.
comes out in the and I see the final CG on it.
That's true.
That's fine. But can I not say he looks okay?
He looks alright.
That's what I'm saying. He looks all right. I'm not saying he looks great. Nick. God.
I'm just saying the only reason.
You frustrate me.
I know.
I know. I love that.
The other reason in which I really think that it's going to be absolutely Carnage is because I'm 90% sure that scene where he's in the church and like you see like everything else at
The
very
mosaic
end.
in the background.
Yeah, the mosaic in the background, that's the final fight.
Oh, of course. Yeah.
Like that's the final fight. It takes place in a church and it's literally Eddie Brock trying to figure out where
Cletus Cassidy, yeah.
where these cultists are and where like Cletus Cassidy.
Now, do we get a end credit scene for this one?
Yes.
Yes.
What?
I think so. Finally hinting on Spider-Man.
The symbiote war or something like that?
No, I think it's going to be Mobius.
Oh, yeah. That's their connection. You'll see Jared Leto.
Because Mobius was supposed to come out before this, and then it got.
It's like Venom. He's like
And
at
then
his
it got
house,
pushed back.
and then Jared Leto is like, "I'm here to talk to you about a team."
I'm here to talk to you about a team. We got to kill an insect.
It's gonna be sinister.
Oh, you know what I just thought of right now? Because essentially what they're doing is if Morbius is connected to the MCU as a whole, or rumored to be, with the whole multiverse theory,
I think it's adjacent multiverse.
I think Absolute Carnage is going to kind of hint at a Spider-Man.
I think
in
that's
some
why.
way.
I think that's why there's a Daily Bugle.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then that's when we'll see Venom in the whole.
That just weakens the movie.
And then Spider-Man.
You think so?
No Way
Yeah.
Home.
If Morbius shows up at the end and it's Jared Leto,
It's going to be good advertising for the Morbius movie to
Right.
get people to go watch it. But as a whole, inclusion of Spider-Man at this point, or like an expanded universe, can only hurt this movie. I don't think it will benefit from it because
if it's an isolated,
it's
movie,
too far
fine.
out on it. It's too far out of its origin for it to be acceptable at this point. I don't think.
I mean, I'm looking forward. That's the thing, though. I think it'd be really interesting to have Eddie Brock, Tom Hardy's Eddie Brock, in the MCU because that's just a home run. Like the only thing that they really got right in this entire movie is Tom Hardy playing Eddie Brock.
yeah.
Like they nailed that.
Yeah, I mean, Venom is not. He's great.
But the thing is that it's kind of hard to get that right.
Yeah, I get you.
And the fact that Tom Hardy does it so effortless.
Effortlessly.
Yeah, I don't know why I can't speak.
It's probably the caffeine.
It's probably because I'm juiced up on Monster.
Got that monster juice in you.
Yeah, man, I got my IV and everything. But yeah, I think that's gonna be your saving grace.
Yeah.
Is Tom Hardy? I would love to see him. Tom Hardy versus Tom Holland. That would be hilarious. I would love that. It's the battle of the Toms.
The battle of the Toms. Hardy versus
Get
Holland.
out of it.
Because you have Tom Hardy, Tom Hiddleston, and Tom Holland all right next to each other.
And then that's one team. They got Chris Hemsworth,
And then you got
Chris
the
Evans,
Chris's. And then you got the Chris's.
and Chris Pratt.
All right, let's wrap up this topic. Final thoughts regarding the trailer. Do we have any hope for this?
I'm gonna go in the same way I did with the first movie. Was not big expectations, but just kind of go in and hoping that the movie's good.
I'm going to go into this movie the same way I went into the last movie, drunk.
I'm going to go into this movie drunk.
That's how I went into the last one, and I thought it was all right.
I'm going to go into
Good. You know the movie, guys? It wasn't too bad. You know?
Wakes up the next morning. What the heck did I watch?
Probably why I don't remember 20 minutes.
Look,
The second movie, there was so much going on in that film. Like Tom Hardy was like, he was coming in and coming out,
Hey, man,
and then like Woody Harrelson was just like red, and then like red and black was like all over the screen.
Hey man, so I know we went to go see Venom last night, but like, why was Chris Rock in it? I don't remember seeing him in the movie.
What's the deal with Venom?
Why was Chris Rock in it? And he was like, Samuel L. Jackson, like, is that the MCU?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna go in to watch this movie. But speaking about Chris Rock,
I know.
just to kind of, I picked up on your little transition.
I
picked up on your transition.
Yeah.
We got a couple minutes left.
Yes.
And you went to go watch a movie.
Yes.
Yes.
By myself.
By yourself. I wasn't going to mention that, but sure, you brought it in. So,
I said it in the post.
I did. So
Yeah,
just going to revisit
I
this.
felt bad.
So real quick for our listeners, if you guys don't follow us on Instagram, we're going to start posting more stuff on our Instagram. I did love Renee's idea of like giving a little short review. Why not? He's got that. I just got my N7 package for Mass Effect with
How
the
was
helmet.
that?
I have not opened it yet, so I'm going to make a little video on there like to show it off. 'Cause
Okay,
it's
cool.
sick.
Make sure that you're clothed, please.
God, stop making me look like a weirdo. Jesus Christ, Nick.
I just
Listen,
want.
once this podcast is over, I'm just kidding.
Dang.
Are you gonna get undressed? I'm really confused on the implication that you just gave me.
Anyway, so Renee gave us a little bit of insight on the movie Spiral, which you went to go see. Renee, tell the listeners what your initial thoughts on the movie was, because you've seen the Saw movies.
Yes, I have.
I'm too much of a baby to watch any of the Saw movies, but I'll listen to people talk about them.
Yeah.
And Nick, you've seen them,
I love them.
but not Spiral.
I haven't seen
it yet.
Spiral yet. No.
All right, Renee, give us a little bit of an insight on the movie.
It was good. Thank you guys for listening so hard. It was good.
That's the end of it.
So that's the end of the podcast. No, sorry. No, honestly, I was really intrigued by this film when it first got announced, because when Chris Rock said he's going to take over a Saw film, and I was like, oh, okay. I guess that's happening, And I watched, and then seeing the trailer intrigued me a lot. I really liked how it was presented. It felt like it's a complete, which it was. It was completely, we're getting a completely new cast of characters and a new group of victims as well too, that are not directly connected to Jigsaw, because apparently Jigsaw's been gone for like 10 years.
Does it still use the same canon of like all 10?
The only thing that they mentioned was just John Kramer. That was it. They only mentioned
That's
that.
probably smart.
So they mentioned John Kramer, and they mentioned that he was dead for almost 10 years now.
But the thing is that in the movies, he was only dead for like 5 or 6 years.
Okay, so real quick recap on Saw. How many movies are there?
Uh,
Saw, not Jigsaw and Spiral including. So take those out of the picture.
So
I would say there's like 8?
8 films then. 8 or 7 films.
Saw 8. Then Saw 3D is its own, right?
No, that was Saw 3.
No.
Yeah, it was.
No,
It
they
was
did.
Saw
No, they did. They
3D.
did just Saw 3D.
Was it?
Yeah,
I think so.
yeah.
Yeah, there's so many
Hold
Saw
on, let me
movies.
see, yeah.
Look them up real quick, because I
Hang on
know
1 second.
so the story of Saw is that John Kramer lived for like 3 movies, then died, then comes
All right,
back.
So there's 7 movies
Okay.
in total. Then you have Jigsaw, and then you have Spiral.
In 3D was what?
I guess when I think Saw, I want to say like when Saw 6 came out then, because Saw the Final Check. Because I remember they were advertising that in.
It was
The
Saw
movie.
the Final Chapter.
Okay, it was in 3D.
Yeah, that one.
Well, what was the final chapter? Saw 6 or Saw
Yeah.
7?
No, it was Saw 6.
That's Saw 6, and then
No,
they had-
that was Saw 7.
that's Saw 7.
Yeah. Damn. I forgot what happened in these movies. Like, if I'm looking at the posters, because I'm thinking, like, okay, I'm looking at the poster. First one had to do with, like, the 2 guys chained up in a room. Second one was in a house.
Yeah, that was the Killer House.
And then the third one, what? You remember the scene, the needle pit.
No.
The Needle Pit.
The needle pit is what
that
gets
was
Bryan.
that was pretty sick scene.
Yeah.
I always like the one with
I
the
can't close
glass.
my eyes. I can picture it in my head.
I always like the one with the 2 blades.
Stop.
Where she has to like put
Stop.
her hands through,
Oh, that's
and she
sick.
like
Oh, yeah.
and she gets stuck.
Ugh. And they
And then
and they showed you too that like she could have just like opened the contraption, the box, without putting their hands there.
Yeah, all she had to do was look.
I can't, dude. I just
Okay, so
I watched them. I watched those things and I was just like,
so
no.
Saw 3 was basically in a warehouse that had to do with a father.
it was a father, and it was the woman who didn't save his daughter.
Yes.
Yeah, it was the doctor who let his daughter die, and then that's when you have John, and he's dying.
That's Saw 4 or Saw 5?
That's Saw 3.
Saw 3.
So he dies after Saw 3?
Yes,
He does.
because after that he starts having a successor, which we think it was, what's her name, the girl from the first one.
Doesn't he
Amanda.
come back
No,
though?
it's not. It's the cop.
Yeah, it's the cop. Well, no, they make it believe it's
Yeah,
her.
they think so, and then it's the cop.
It's the cop in Saw.
Sounds convoluted. That's why I was asking.
It
if
gets
whether-
revealed in Saw 4 and then Saw.
But this is why I'm asking if they use the canon.
That's the thing. The
Because-
only character they mention throughout
It's
that
just
whole
John?
franchise is just John Kramer.
Because that's the thing, though, is that's why I'm saying, technically, in the Saw movies, John has been dead for like 6 years.
Yeah.
So if it's only been 10 years, then there's been like a string of Saw copycats.
Yes, and they do mention that. They do mention it's just a Saw copycat. You know, when it's revealed that there's a new killer that's using Saw like you know, traps and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Not exactly like his, but like the theme of Saw, of Jigsaw at least.
Okay.
So they do mention again. Oh yeah, it's just another copycat, you know, guys. Nothing to worry about. But the thing is that in this movie specifically, what I liked is that it targets bad. This character named Spiral, he specifically targets
Dirty cops.
dirty cops that have legitly either lied on the reports, killed innocent people, and you know, and then just kind of just like Chris Rock is in the middle of it. Chris Rock is just is just a detective that.
Yeah, but that feels weird though. Like this feels like a horror movie that was made in a boardroom.
But that's why it's from the book of Saw.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make any sense because after Saw, this is me not watching these movies.
Yeah.
This is like an outsider,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
Because
So
you
you
can't
have the
watch
main. I'm not ashamed of it. I don't like torture porn. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all it
First
is.
off, that's not torture porn. Hostile is torture porn.
That's
legitimately torture.
That
Yeah,
is
that's
legit.
legitimately
That
torture
is
porn.
yeah. No.
That's giving Eli Roth full range and just be like, here you go.
No. I've seen scenes from Hostel and it's like no. Hostel is god.
At a
man.
certain point, Hostel does get gross.
Yeah.
Like for somebody even like a horror aficionado as me, where at a certain point you're like, this isn't fun anymore.
Well, it was, I guess for me, it was like towards the end of the first movie where it's just like he's escaping and just like all this stuff he's going through, like finding that girl and just like cutting her eye and stuff. And then like stuff comes out like, dude, like you're really going overboard.
It's
like,
just
one that was-
there's a point. And I think
Yeah.
like Saw for me, I think if Saw was like I've said this to you before we started recording. If there was like a comic book or a book for Saw, I'd read it because I
was.
like the story.
I think there was.
I don't remember. I don't think so.
I think there is a Saw comic
maybe
book.
there could be.
The story seems interesting. It's just I can't visually watch what's
Yeah.
going on. It just like it literally like it's just not mentally.
And what
me.
makes me really enjoy the film is Chris Rock's character. It feels like a very fresh, not a fresh character, but just like that typical cop that's like funny, but then also just like very stern at the same time. Because
So Chris Rock is a good character or good actor here?
he's a good character that you follow and you want to see what he uncovers along the way. You're interested with him.
You know what? I was really questioning if Chris Rock was going to be a good like
He does.
horror.
Yeah.
He was going to do well in horror because from the trailer,
Yeah.
they used a really bad take.
So
I really dislike that take.
So there's some camera angles or some shots that has Chris Rock like looking stern and kind of thinking in his head, you know, realizing what just happened and what he just saw, and it's kind of cheesy the face he chooses or the shot that they chose to look, because it looks like he's just kind of like faking it, like a look like that.
Like the one I thought in the trailer was the one where it's like, oh, we gotta get everybody, and I was like, that sounds really weird.
Yeah,
Like,
for
it
a,
sounds-
for a character that's supposed to be being
yeah,
serious.
like
yeah.
he's supposed to be being serious, but it doesn't sound like he's like 100% in. It just sounds like he's reading a line, and I was like, this is a really bad take to put in a trailer.
No.
But I think
Yeah.
it's because of Chris Rock's acting method, and that's probably because when I saw this, saw when I when I when I saw, I didn't even, no pun intended, but when I saw this, I thought, like, my first thought was like, okay, how is Chris Rock going to portray a very serious character in a horror movie? Because his voice, this isn't to bash on him. I think he's a really good actor. Producer, I don't know. I haven't seen a lot of his work and stuff like that he might have produced. But, you know, acting wise, how do you get that voice to fit into something serious?
Yeah, no, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
And
he's been in serious movies before, hasn't he?
He has. But the thing is that what I like is that I think because they play on the whole thing that he is a little bit older now. And I've noticed that with most comedians that were around in the 90s, how they are now, because they're older, they play more serious roles because they are older, like Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
Like Jamie Foxx now, he's a serious actor, but before, like early 90s, he was a comedian.
They transition into something different. Yeah, no, I mean, we see that all the time.
Have you guys actually seen Fargo? Apparently, he's really good in that.
The movie or the show?
No, the show.
The show.
Yeah,
okay.
The show.
Series.
I've watched him in Fargo, and I think that's where he got his inspiration to do
I have to watch Fargo.
To do Spiral. It's really good, actually.
Okay.
This season that he does, because it's
only one season, right?
Yeah, it's
like
only
a
one
past,
season.
It's like in the past.
And what he does, and what great about Fargo is that they do the same thing like how they do with True Detective, where it's one season with one actor specifically, and then that's it.
Yes.
You know, with the first season of True Detective, you have Woody Harrelson and Matthew McConaughey. The next season, I believe, is with Colin Farrell and stuff. And with Fargo, the first season is with Billy Bob Thornton.
It's one season only and it's done, or they're still making
one season and then it's done. It was in 2014.
Their arcs are done.
It was in 2014
because it was based on the movie.
Yes.
Prequel to it.
Yeah,
Okay,
exactly.
I got to rewatch the movie.
The movie's real. That's like one of my favorite.
I have to
movies.
rewatch it. I remember it being very good, but like the show when I heard about it, like it's what's the show? Snowpiercer. I heard that the movie was like.
I haven't watched that.
The movie was okay. I haven't seen it, but the show I've heard is okay.
I like the movie a lot.
Yeah.
I feel like because the thing I don't like about the show is that it doesn't take the movie as canon.
Good. So it separates
it's its
itself.
own thing. Yeah.
It separates itself, but the thing is that there's things that they establish inside of the movie that they don't
talk about.
They don't talk about because the show tries to stay a little closer to the comic,
which is kind of like what Hannibal did.
Takes
the concept of Hannibal
the
and then it plays off on its own spin. Because Hannibal the movie is different than Hannibal the show.
Of
Hannibal
course.
the movie is
well, if anything,
rough.
the show is taking aspects of before what happened with like Red Dragon, which is the first book.
Well, no, there's 3 of them.
Yeah,
because it does do Red Dragon. It does do what was it at the very end? I think the last season is Buffalo Bill.
Yeah.
And then
are they doing I just now realized that they did a Clarice show.
Yeah, I think it was
after Silence of the Lambs.
It was poorly advertised.
Huh?
No, it was poorly advertised on CBS. But then supposedly with this new season coming in, they can only reference Hannibal by not mentioning Hannibal directly.
Yeah,
that makes no sense.
It doesn't, and that's why I don't care for it. Because then why do I care? Like,
but they reference like the aspects that they're taking it from, like Hannibal, the pages of Silence of the Lambs and stuff like that in Hannibal.
I don't know how many times we've mentioned this on the podcast, but we cannot stress enough how spectacular the Hannibal show is.
I was waiting for an opportunity.
We're about to wrap the show up anyway. No problem. So, so I mean, we're pretty much.
You mentioned it.
Something all sneaky about it. No,
but to get back into Spiral really quick, to end it to what my final thoughts are, I just really enjoyed the story. Chris Rock's character was really good. They ended on a way where it's going to keep going.
Okay.
And the twist of / reveal of Spiral is not. I was kind of like, oh, okay, not bad, And then when they reveal the character's intentions and why and reasoning, that's when I was like, oh.
Okay, so you liked all that.
I thoroughly enjoyed it
because I don't know if you've seen some of the reviews. They're being very harsh on this movie, but I think they've been harsh on a lot of the Saw movies.
Before I saw this movie, I remember seeing on YouTube channels like already reviews, and I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna watch them because I want to go in with my own take,
with your own thoughts.
And I think that's why I didn't mind seeing it by myself because I didn't want I just wanted to watch it by myself and get my own thoughts, and that's it. I thoroughly enjoyed it because what I liked about this movie is that it stayed relevant with today's aspect of how the police are portrayed and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
It stayed very relevant, and I think Chris Rock did a good job of showing that. and he did a good job of portraying a character and how it is because his character, it's not a spoiler, when his character, what happens to him is that he, as a rookie, sees something that a police officer did and then reports it in.
Yeah.
And then he's automatically labeled throughout his rest of his career in his department as a rat.
Gotcha.
Which is interesting because that is actually like a thing.
That's a thing, yeah.
Yeah.
And it shows that what he had to go through throughout the years and how he became a detective and stuff, and how he doesn't work with anyone because he doesn't trust everyone in the department. Yeah.
So I'm assuming that also the reason why he has such a rough relationship with Samuel Jackson is because as his dad, he's disappointed that he ratted out a fellow cop.
Exactly. And he's also afraid for his son's well-being within the department as well too.
Nick, you're gonna watch this, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it.
Tell us what you think about it, because you give a lot of positive reviews.
I liked it.
Yeah,
I thoroughly liked it, and I'm thoroughly gonna look forward to the next movie because it does, like I said, leave open.
Here's the bad part, though, is that I love garbage horror film.
But that's fine because you can interpret horror in many different ways. Like you don't have to like a good horror movie doesn't have to have spectacular ratings.
No, exactly. But the thing is that it could be a garbage horror film, and I could still love that thing, and I'll watch it like 8 times.
Yeah.
What also is great about it is like the way that this movie was shot. It's not like any other Saw movie. Like the camera angles and like the picture is different. It's basically like more.
I wonder.
It's more movie oriented films.
Okay.
Yeah.
But because the thing I liked about Saw movies was always that they felt really low budget. I always really loved that about the Saw movies, and I don't know how I feel if it's
the traps in these ones feel more like Saw the first one, where they're not too convoluted on how they are. They're pretty straightforward of what you have to do and how to escape out of them.
Because I always really liked that idea from Saw, where it was like, the reason why I'm doing this is to save you, so that way you can respect the amount of life you have left.
He's still technically he's still giving them a way out.
Yeah.
It's just basically, it's like it's the same thing. He still keeps in with the same thing where it's like how you are put to this test, but at the same time you have a way out to be alive. Obviously you're not going to be the same. Yeah. But how far do you want to still be alive? It still keeps that aspect, which I like.
Forgot in 4 there was a I actually really didn't. I totally forgot about that. In 4 there was a Jigsaw support group.
Yeah.
I remember. I forgot about that. That's right. And it's being held by the guy from the first Saw.
Yes.
And then don't you find out that he's actually a Saw now? He's actually a member
So
of
what
the
happens,
Jigsaws?
you know what's funny is that those movies, when they came out, they kept revealing like, oh yeah, John Kramer has another protege. And then when Jigsaw came out, that movie came out, apparently he had a protege long before he even had any of those people as well too, because you find out in that movie
like there was a protege before the protege.
Yeah.
Before he
a free protege.
Getting,
yeah. And it's like, oh wait, but this is like your last film, but apparently this happened 10 years ago, long before the other films happened. And
So now
like
the question becomes, how much further are they going to keep going with the Saw franchise then? If Chris Rock is taking it,
if Chris Rock is doing his own thing with it, he's taking, like I said, he's taking aspects from the franchise, but then putting it in a new story, because this is a whole new character that we're getting.
The Saw cinematic universe.
Basically.
My question is is it good ending or bad ending?
It's a good ending if you think about it, because that's the thing. I had to realize it today what he's trying to do, and it's basically he's making Chris Rock's character and the Spiral character like they are enemies now. Like this is going to be a cat and mouse game moving forward.
See,
okay, that's interesting now.
But the thing is that I feel like that should have been the movie in the first place.
Yeah, and I think that's what he thought too, and that's what he did.
No. But what I'm saying is, because I would love a True Detective-esque style of a movie, where even a TV show.
That's how this is, honestly, man.
I feel like that would be really good as a TV show.
Oh yeah.
a True Detective-esque story about Jigsaw.
About a
And you
character
can-
like Jigsaw, yeah.
Not even about Jigsaw.
Oh, just
use Jigsaw.
use Jigsaw?
Like, why not? Because I feel like there's so much mythos to Jigsaw now, and there's so many movies to him, stuff like that, and there's so much backstory.
You know what's funny? If
that you can do it really well.
It does kind of. That's why I'm saying it ends like that, where it's like if this was a season 1 kind of thing, that's how it ends. And then
that would be a
two-
season 1.
Yeah,
going
and then
into
season two is basically like he's constantly trying to track down this Spiral character now, but then he has something else planned for him as well.
All right. Well, if you're saying it's more True Detective, then I would definitely.
Yeah,
I'm interested in watching.
It's basically like how in the first one where you're following Donald Glover's character, Danny Glover's character, and then we just kind of go forward from there. Like
Yeah, but I love Danny Glover's character. That was awesome.
Yeah.
I loved the idea of Danny Glover's character is a detective who's hunting down Jigsaw, and then goes nuts
That's what
because of Jigsaw.
you got to watch this movie. Then just watch it. Just watch it and tell me what you think after.
You're like, oh, you're saying all the right things.
Dude,
You're gonna
you're
love it.
saying what
You're
I
gonna love it.
like wanted too, yeah.
Yeah,
but
you're gonna love
then
it.
yeah, that's what that to wrap it up. I will say just watch it, see it for yourself, guys. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I can't wait for the second one.
Cool. All right, so that about does it, right?
Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I'm just. I'm
We
just
went
hoping-
on like an hour tangent about Venom.
Yeah, man, I just stared at you guys for a good 45 minutes.
I mean, this is me with Saw at this point. I don't watch it at all just because of that.
You know what, Brian? I won't watch Spiral, and I'll watch all the Saw movies with you, and I'll have a little.
I'm not going to watch them
I'll have a
anyway, so
vomit
let's go
bucket.
ahead and wrap up this issue now.
I'll have a vomit
Let's
bucket.
wrap
All right,
up this
guys.
issue, Nick.
right.
All right, so guys, just a quick reminder: if you guys made it this far into the issue, we appreciate and love you all.
Yes, if you made it this far.
Is it pretty
Thank you
time?
for listening.
Thank you guys. You guys can find us on Instagram and Twitter. Just look up Keeping Up With the Nerds. Our website, keepingupwiththenerds.com, where you can find all our updates, including the podcast when they drop, because there's a time or articles that we will be posting of, and any up-to-date information on projects that we're working on. Visit that site. Let us know what you think. If you're listening to this on an audio platform, which means Podbean, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Apple Podcasts, please head on over to our YouTube channel. You can look up Keeping Up With the Nerds and subscribe. You can find the podcasts there. If you guys have YouTube Premium, you guys can listen to that, or in the background, whatever you guys want. But we'll be uploading new content there pretty soon. We're still working on that, and summer's coming around the corner. We got a lot of stuff we've been talking about as well, so there's that to look forward to. With that said, Nick, you ready to wrap the show up?
No.
Wrap it up anyways.
I want to talk more.
Oh, it's awkward. It's okay. We'll go get some.
Let's do it.
Thank you, citizens, for listening to this issue of Keeping Up with the Nerds Variety Hour. I'm your host, Nicholas Valero.
This is Bryan.
Rene!
And this coming to you from 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California, recording at Undercity Comics. We thank you. Oh no. We thank you.
You want to start over?
Yeah, I want to start over.
Let's go. Start over.
All right, cut the music.
We'll clip it.
Start from that.
We'll clip it.
God damn it.
My phone. I'm not gonna lie. My phone went black.
Come on. I've been holding it in the entire time, too. I was like, he's there. He's there. Go. Go, go, go.
Thank you, citizens, for listening. Oh, sorry. Renee, you got another one in you? Hold on one second. Okay.
Take 3, guys. Take 3. Nick, come on. Go.
Thank you, citizens, for listening to this issue of Keeping Up with the Nerds Variety Hour. I am your host, Nick.
This is Bryan.
Rene!
This coming to you from 12920 Philadelphia Street, Whittier, California, recording at Undercity Comics. We thank you for listening once again and hope to see you all next time.